Hello everyone, welcome to this episode of Auto Tutorials by Levonotion Studios. My name is Lydia, and in this video I'm going to show you how you can use the shader editor in Blender 2.9. Let's get started. So this video I'm going to show you how I created this. I'm going to try and explain as much as I can, but at the end of this video you should be able to create something like this. So now I have these two material slots. This one is for the upper part of the top and this one is for the lower part of the top. So I'm going to delete this and start again. So now the first thing you need to do is create a new material. So by creating a new material, Blender automatically creates the Principled BSDF and this node. So this is the node. So if you don't have this, you can convert any of your viewports or any of your editor to shader, the shader editor, which is this. So see, this and this are similar. So I'm going to take this back to the 3D viewports. So you can convert any of your editor to the shader editor. So by default, Blender creates this node in the shader editor too. Now, the purpose of this video is to explain what each of these slots does. Not everything, but the ones I use. I personally use the Principled BSDF, the glossy BSDF, and the diffuse BSDF. But most times, I just stick with the default, which is the Principled BSDF. So in this video, I'll try and just focus on the Principled BSDF. So let's start from the top down. The first thing you notice here is the base color, which is by default it is white. So you can change this around to any color that you want. So let's just go to the blue color. So that is the first thing. It's as simple as that, base color. And with this base color, you can attach your textures, your images, anything that you have. You can attach this to the base color. You can even attach inbuilt noise texture from within Blender. So I'm going to start with my own personal texture. So now to add a texture, just click on Shift A to bring up this menu, or you go up here to add. Then you see the same menu that I have with using Shift A. So I usually use just Shift A. So just Shift A, texture, image texture. So with this, I just click on open and look for a texture on my system. So Ankara. So I can select any of this texture. So when you bring in your texture, you don't see it. To see the texture, you have to connect it to this BSDF. So you see color here, base color here. So you need to connect color to color. So anything you see this color, you can attach them to it. So directly. So you can attach this color to base color, to surface color, then to the emission color. So I'm going to connect this to the base color. So you just see the Ankara material which I imported. Now, this top has a UV. Let me show you the UV. This dress rather. So go to UV. You see the UV here. So in the description below, I'm going to leave a link to how you can create UV. So just go back to the shader editor. So right now, this texture is laid out according to my UV, even though there's no way to know that, to get that from what I have here. But by default, when you attach any texture, it uses the UV. Although you can create them, you can specify other ways or other things to use. But when you just have the texture, it uses UV. So I'm going to introduce you to an add-on I use. Go to Edit, Preference, which is Node Wrangler, which is here. So you can just close this. By default, you see the list of your add-on. You just click on Node, type in Node. So you have it here. So just click on the check mark to activate the Node Wrangler. This Node Wrangler will help your life. It will make your life easy. So for instance, like this texture I created, let me close it, let me delete it, which is delete. can just select the node, the Principled BSDF, and Ctrl T. So it's going to create the texture node for me, and it's going to create the mapping and the texture coordinates. I don't think I know where these are located, but let's find out. You can just go to converter. I think one is under vector, which is mapping. So this and this is under mapping, while this texture coordinate is under input texture coordinates. So I have to select, go there, look for them, then connect them manually. But by default, the node wrangler will do that for me. To get them fast, just Shift A, then come to the search, mapping. You see it, then texture coordinates, you see it. So, but by using the add-on, it will make your life easier. It's going to skip some steps and make your work easy. So now I can connect the image back, which is this. So now, what you can do with this mapping, this scale is to scale up the textures. By scaling up this is the same as scaling up your texture, your UV. So there's no point messing up your UV if you can easily just scale it up here. So with that, then with this texture coordinates, you see it's picking up for my UV, but you can actually use other methods. This is a tutorial on its own. You can use window, you can use generate. That will just generate it for you. It's a separate tutorial on its own, but just know by default it uses your UV. So if you'll be using the mapping, which is this, you have to use the texture coordinate with it. But if you want to change the scaling, then you don't need any of the two. So if you'll be using mapping, you will need the texture coordinates. So this is the first aspect, which is color. So another one you can add, this one is from your external system. Another one you can do is Shift A. You can add the noise. The noise is the inbuilt stuff you can generate in Blender. So you can scale this up and you can change the color. So Shift A, go to under converter, color ramp. I use color ramp to change the color of your texture. So I can change this to, let's say, red and white or whatever. So you can use your color with either your imported texture or the Blender generated one. So let me connect this back. So now, by using this color ramp to change the noise texture, you can also use it to change the color of your imported textures. So let me go back, Shift A. Under converter, you see color ramp, or you can just type here color ramp, which is this. So just drag it and plug it in between the texture and the Principled BSDF. Then you can now change the color. So instead of blue, you can say red and white, or you can bring the colors together. So now we have red and white instead of blue and white, or you can actually have green and white, whatever you want, you can edit it. Another way to edit your textures, imported textures, let me delete this. To delete this, I can either click on delete, it's going to break the connection, undo, or Ctrl X. It's going to delete the node without breaking the connection. So another way to edit your images, your texture, is to Shift A and under color, RGB curve. So you can edit your texture with this. So with this, the C is going to add more whites or more black. With the red, it's going to have more red or reduce the red. With the green, with the blue, and so on and so forth. So you can edit your image in Blender. So that's for the base color. The subsurface is mostly used for skin, for candles, and stuff that emits light underneath. So I won't really go deep into this, but if I select the character's body, you see that there's subsurface on it. So if I take it down, see that our skin looks different from this, and the color you can see under our skin is this red color. If I change it around, you see that our complexion is changing. Yeah, that's it for the subsurface. So this, from here down to this subsurface color, are connected. So let me go back to the clothes. So these three are connected. Since our cloth doesn't have subsurface, so we are not going to dive into that, but I've shown you how to use it with the character skin. So the next thing is metallic. Metallic, when it is 0, when you have a 0 in your shader, it means black. And when you have white, it means 1. Is 0 black, 1 white. Is 0 black, 1 white. So when your metallic is black, which is 0, it's not a metal. But when you take it to 1, you see, our cloth looks like silver. So that means it's 1. And the metallic and the roughness are kind of connected, but with the specular. So let me finish with the metallic, then go on to the next one. So the metallic is at 1. See, it looks like a metal. If I change this to, let's say, a solid color, I'm changing to gold. See, this looks like a metal. So use this for your metallic objects in your scene. Now, the specular, let me connect this back. The specularity has to do with how shiny or how dull your object is. For specular objects, which is this for one is specular, this is dull. I don't know if you can see that, but let's say the specularity has to do with how reflective or how shiny, how specular your object is. Papers, for instance, they're like matte. They don't reflect light. They don't absorb light. They absorb light. They don't bounce light back. So at 0, it means no specularity. It doesn't shine. It doesn't blink. It's just dull. Then at 1, it bounces light. So this specular tints, we tend to use the color. Okay, let's see. Let me use a very, okay. See, the specular color is white by default. But when you click on specular tints, it kind of use the color of the base color. Is either your texture or the color. It chooses the base color as the specularity. See how this look. It's not using the white color. So if I take the specular tint down, see how shiny it is with the white color. So you don't have to take it to 1. You can just increase it a little bit. So that's for specular tints and specular. Then for roughness at 0, that means the object is really, really rough. It took a little bit of time for me to understand what this value does. But at 0, it means black. It means is rough, is smooth. Yeah. For roughness, it means it's smooth. Then at 1, that's why it's called roughness. At 1, roughness means it's very, very rough. And when objects are rough, they don't reflect light. They absorb the light. So that's why it's always dull. When you take it to 1, even though your specularity is at 1, it's still dull because it's not really bouncing off light. It's just keeping the whole light to itself. So at 0, it's very shiny and glossy because it's smooth. It's very, very, very smooth. So it's not shiny. It's not shiny and into your face. So the specular and roughness are connected. When the specular is at 0, even though your roughness is at 0 too, which means it's very, 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 very smooth, because it's not a kind of material that shines. Then even if it's very, very, very smooth. Okay, let's say there's some, I don't know what I can use. Plastic. Even though the plastic is very, very, very smooth, if it's not a reflective material, you won't see any specularity on it. So that's what specular does. So now to all these other ones, I hardly use them. So I won't explain them since I'm not an expert with them. Then the other one I use, I think, is this Clearcoat. Clearcoat just add this, I don't know, this, okay, let me take the roughness now. You see what is adding this, like when you paint your nails, you just add this finishing to your work. You see what it does? Even though the roughness is at 1, the Clearcoat still have this over the, just something, I don't know how to explain it, but you get the old gist, see? You just add this layer, yeah, that's right. So you just add this layer, this tiny thin layer to your material. Then after that, the next thing is the emission. The emission is your material will emit light. So you see, black is 0, so it's not emitting. Then white, it emits light. Let me go to this. Let me change it to UV, so it's faster. So it's emitting light. That's what emission does. So you can change the color. So see, address is emitting light. So that's what emission does. Then this is for the emission strength. How bright or how dull it is. That's for the emission strength. So let me take this back to black. I'll take this back to 1. So now, for the alpha, the alpha has to do with the transparency. So now if I take this back to 0, that means black. Black means is transparent. Then white, which is 1. 0 is black, white is 1. So black means is very, very, very transparent. Then white means is opaque. But right now, our cloth is not transparent. And why is that? Because we're in EV. Now if I go to the shading and I change this to circles, you see that our address is transparent. But for EV, it doesn't go transparent unless you come down to settings under the properties editor, the material editor. You go under the down until you get to viewport display. So you go to settings, then you change this from opaque to alpha blend. So you see now address is transparent, it's not opaque. So this is where you change it. Even though you've changed it here, you still have to change it under the settings for EV. So let me take this back to 1. Then take this back to opaque. So that's for that. Then the normal map, which is the last thing I use in the Principled BSDF, has to do with detailing. When you have to add detail to your material. So for instance, for this now, let me shift D. I have some textures that I've imported before, so I'm going to come down here and select it. Okay, let's view it from here. This is one texture, and this is another texture. And this is the normal map. So I'm going to explain normal map, how to use normal map, and how to use an image to get the noise. So I'm going to change this normal map, which is this 3. So to use normal map, you connect this to the normal map, but it's not going to work because this is yellow and this is blue. They are not compatible. So you need something to convert the image to what the normal map will understand, which is normal map. So Shift A is that I search here, normal map. Then you plug it in between the two. So from color to color, then from blue to blue. So this is your normal map. You see, it has had that bump to the material. It's not just color anymore. Now it has another layer to it, which is this. So Ctrl T. Then I can scale this up and add more details to the. So just click the first one. Click the first one, drag down, then go left or right. So see, this has more detail. Now to use any picture, any image, to convert that to a normal, what do? Shift A and Shift D to duplicate. We are going to use this. Okay, this TD whatever. So to convert this to a normal map, I can as well just select this, but it's not going to work because this is not a normal map. You see that the normal map is this blue color. This is how a normal map look like. So if you want to convert a normal image to a normal map, what do? You don't use a normal map. You use a bump map to convert a black and white or any image to a normal map. So Shift A, bump. You can actually find it at Shift A under converter. Oh, vector, you see bump and you see the normal map. That's where you get the two. So Shift A, under vector, you see bump. So you convert, you connect this color to the height, then the height, then the normal to the normal. So let's see what it looks like. So this is it. Ctrl-Shift-Click to activate a particular node. So I can Ctrl-Shift-Click this to activate, Ctrl-Shift-Click this to see the image. So that's the way to preview. This is one of the usefulness of the node wingler. So just Ctrl-Shift-Click, Ctrl-Shift-Click to select any node to be the active node, to preview a node. So now this is what we have. So you can reduce the strength. And you can also merge two nodes together. So let's say I want to merge this normal map and this bump map together. You can merge them. So Ctrl-Shift-Click and click. It will mix the two together. So if you look well, you see that we have the combination of both. If I take it to 1, you see the first normal map. If I take it to 0, you see the one below. This 0 is for the one on top, then 1 is for the one below. So by putting it halfway, you are kind of mixing both to give you a new normal map. So that's for normal map. That's for now. So this is the end of explaining the shader editor. Now, to recreate what I had at the beginning, it's the combination of all this and maybe with a little bit more. So let's start with the lower part of the clothes. So what did I do? How did I achieve that? I used the color and the normal map, and that's it. So to do that, you can just go to edit mode, select the lower parts of the body. Select the lower part of the body plus assign. So now we have a new material for the lower part of the body. Then create a new node. So for this, I can either use the Principled BSDF, but since I won't be needing all these other specular, whatever, for this, I can just decide to change this to the diffuse. So Shift S to change. So Shift S, shader, diffuse. So all I will be needing is the texture. So Ctrl T. Oh, no, we are not opening we have it already here, pattern. Then the next thing is the normal map. Shift D. Let me change this to 3. Then the next thing is to change this to the normal map. Connect it, Shift A, under vector normal map. So you can't really see it, but let me deactivate. Can you see it? It's not so obvious, but it's there. And of course, you can increase the strength. You can increase the strength if you want to see it more. But let me deactivate the color. See how big it is. So I can Ctrl T to increase the scale. Let me turn this back to 1. Then connect this without and with. So we are done with the lower part of the body. Now to the upper part. The first thing I did was I divided it into 2. And how did I do that? I used this image. So Shift. Let me see. Okay, this was the texture I used to divide them into 2. So the name is texture.com. Okay, so if I connect this to the base color, I have this, but I didn't use it as a color. I used it as a mask to separate 2 shaders, 2 Principled BSDF, to separate them. So I'm going to create another Principled BSDF, Shift D. So we have this and we have this. So we can mix them together. So Ctrl Shift, click on one and click on the next to create this, to mix both together. How do you do this manually? Let me undo. Shift A, under shader, mix shader, select, drag it here, then select this and drag it. So you've mixed the 2 shaders together. So like what I said, it's going to pick half of this and half of this to give you this combination. When you go here, it gives you the one above. Let me do this way. It gives you the one above, and when you go to 1, it gives you the one below. But when you stay in the middle, it gives you 50-50. So 0 is black and 1 is white. So we can create a node that will be between 0 and 1. So now I can start to use this texture to achieve that. So I've just clicked on Shift A, under converter, color ramp. I want to convert this to black and white. So Ctrl Shift click so I can preview what this is. So I can move things around. So this is close to black and white. So I can now use this as the fact. So let's preview. So anything here, anything that is black belongs to the upper one. Anything that is white belongs to the lower one. So this is the lower one. That's why I can see this normal map we did, the noise that we added to it before. So now we want this part to be shining. I want this place to be dull and orange. So let's do the dull and orange part first. So just change the color. Instead of this color, let's give it orange color. That's the orange color. Then let's give this other parts the shiny material. How did I achieve the shiny material? I used an image to make some parts shiny, and I use I practically use this picture here, this, to make the cloth shiny. So how do I replicate this? I just Shift D, click here. So let's preview how this looks like. this is what we have. We want to scale it down. So Ctrl T, scale it down. To get these two maps without using Ctrl P, just Shift A. Under vector, you see the mapping, which is this. Then this texture coordinate, you see it under inputs, which is this. So it's a long process. So it's better you just use the add-on to make life easier. So now, let's say I'm okay with this. Change it to 6. I'm okay with this. I want to use this as the mask to get the metallic feel. So how do I do this? I'll use color ramp to convert it to black and white. So go to converter, color ramp. So let's preview this. So this is not really black and white yet. So I can just push this together to get that black and white. So let me select this back. So I can just add this to the metallic. So anything that is black will be dull, won't be reflective, and anything that is white will be reflective. So let me take this. Okay, it's fully white. Let's change this color. So, the roughness is down. So take the roughness up. Let's preview this. Okay. So now the roughness is reflecting, is active for the whole cloth. So let's say we just want this part to be the shiny part and want the other part to be dull. We still need to use this same mask. So just know that for roughness is the reverse. When it's 0, it's very smooth, which means it's very shiny. Then when it's white or 1, it's very dull. So that means we have to invert this color here. We have to invert it. So Shift A, invert. So we connect this to the roughness and just drag it here. So you see how shiny just those places are. So we can now change the color. You can also use this as the color. So Shift D, connect this to the fag, this to the base color. Then we can change it. So let's say we want, we don't want black and white. Let's say we want this color, and okay, so we have this. It's not shiny, it's very, very, very shiny. So we can also use it for the specular too, if you don't want everything this shiny as it is. If you take this down or up, we can also add this to specular to change it up. So now another thing we can do is add noise to it. This is too smooth, so we can steal the noise from this part, or can just pick any of these two, or can use the mix one. So let's just pick this one and drag it. It's so much. So okay, let's create its own normal map for it. Let's use another image texture. Let's use dotted. Connect to the normal map, sheet A. Bump. Everywhere is kind of clumsy right now, so let me just bring this down, and I can group them like this ones here. Ctrl G to group them, then tab to leave the group. So tab to access the group, then tab to leave the group. So we have that there, and you can rename each group. So if you come down, you can type any name that you want right there. So let's go back to this. Let's check it out. Okay, if you like this, you can just go for this. But let me leave this. Yeah, let me stop here. You can just tweak it, and you can keep working and keep getting as many design as you want, as many textures as you want. It's limitless. What you can get from this is limitless. So it's left to you and how much you can edit and mix things around. So thank you for watching. And don't forget to like the video. Subscribe to Levonotion Studios if you've not done so. Click on the notification bell to get notified every time we upload a video. And until next time, stay true to your creativity. Bye-bye.